Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of my Halloween horror movie series. So in today's episode, we are going to talk about miscellaneous horror. Why miscellaneous horror? Because I couldn't really figure out where to put them into a category. So I'm going to put them here. And I have two good ones in my opinion. Before I start, I want to explain to you a horror movie that I've watched. And tell me if you've seen it. This movie is about a group of young, beautiful, attractive people that go to a remote, deserted area, like a cabin or a lake or a friend's house, somewhere deserted. And some of them may have sex. And then one by one, they get picked off by the killer. And sometimes there's a huge plot twist as to who the killer is. Have you seen this movie? Because I've seen this movie 100 times. They do this kind of stereotypical premise in so many horror movies and I am just so tired of it. So usually there are stereotypes. So there's a dumb jock that has muscles, right? There's a ditzy blonde that has big boobs. Does it sound familiar? There's the smart girl who's also beautiful and she usually survives the movie. There's the comic relief, which is usually either a cute chubby guy or a stoner or something like that. There's, I'm afraid to say it, there's always the token black guy or a black guy and girl. And sometimes there's a dog, okay? I've seen this movie so many times and it's just different actors, different locations, but it's the same thing. So the first movie that I want to recommend to you kind of knows what I'm talking about. So they played on the stereotypical archetype of this horror premise. This movie is called The Cabin in the Woods. Now The Cabin in the Woods kind of starts off just like that. A group of good-looking people go somewhere remote. A cabin in the woods, right? If you like Chris Hemsworth, he plays Thor. He's in this movie. He plays, apparently, the dumb jock. Okay. Also, side note, the guy who plays the stoner, I can't remember his name right now, but I will put it down below. He plays like the comedic relief kind of guy, you know, the stereotype. Well, the actor at the time this movie was filmed was in such good physical shape. I mean, he had muscles that they actually had to layer him in so many different layers of clothing to hide that fact. And honestly, I don't see why. Why does the stoner guy have to be just some skinny guy? Stoner guys can be built, you know? I would have been fine with a shirtless scene. It's all good. But no, they had to hide it because, you know, he didn't fit the stereotype. Well, anyways, so in The Cabin in the Woods, it plays out just like you would think. But then they twist it on its head. I don't want to give it away because you know how I feel about spoilers. But if you haven't seen this movie, I highly recommend it, especially if you've seen a lot of horror movies and you're tired of the same old, same old. Trust me, this is not the same old, same old. Is this movie scary? Yes, I think I would consider this movie somewhat scary. Is this movie gory? Yes, towards the end of the movie, it gets very bloody very quickly. I don't want to spoil anything, but the unicorn is my favorite. That's all I'm gonna say, okay? So anyways, that movie plays on stereotypes, and when I first watched it, I was like, what the heck did I just watch? But then I realized the brilliance, the sheer brilliance of this movie, and so I have to put it in here somewhere, so it's going in the miscellaneous category. Come for the eye candy, stay for the plot, and I don't think that you will go wrong. The second miscellaneous movie is completely different. It is very weird, but I felt like I had to mention it because it is a cult classic. This movie may not be for everyone, but I've watched this movie so many times. I watched it as a child, I watched it as an adult. I just can't get enough of it. I may lose some people here, but the movie's called Killer Clowns from Outer Space. What is Killer Clowns from Outer Space about? It's about killer clowns from outer space. It's so weird, but in a good way. This movie was filmed before they had CGI, which is a good thing because CGI would have ruined it. The puppeteering, the animatronics, everything they did to make this movie what it was is what really stands out to me. It's just so well done. It is kind of like a B movie, you know, it doesn't take itself seriously and neither should you. Basically, these aliens that look like clowns come down in a spaceship that looks like a circus tent and they kill people. Is this movie scary? Well, it depends. Are you afraid of clowns? Because if you're afraid of clowns, this movie is freaking terrifying. If you're not afraid of clowns, I would say it's really not scary. It's just fun. It's just a fun watch. It is an older movie, like I said. Is it gory? There are just a couple brief moments in this movie that are gory. And then you kind of have to wonder, like, what defines gory? I'm going to give just a tiny spoiler here, so if you don't want to listen, fast forward or skip or whatever. But if you consider a clown putting a human body in a cocoon of cotton candy and drinking them out of a crazy straw gory, then yes, this movie is gory. But honestly, it is so out there and so ridiculous and so good, I just couldn't leave it out. If you have seen this movie, I'm not going to spoil anything really, but I want to tell you that my favorite scene is the shadow puppet scene for sure. I thought that scene was so awesome, and if you have seen it, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know if you like this movie, if you have seen these movies, if you haven't seen these movies, are you going to watch these movies? Let me know. We can discuss. So those are my two miscellaneous horror movies, because really I didn't know where to put them, but I wanted to mention them. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this short little horror movie series, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.